Hey guys, it's Jillian here with my first ever vlog review. And I figure if I'm going to do a vlog review of any book, it's going to be the biggest book to apparently ever hit the world ever, and it's caused all kinds of feelings and all kinds of controversies and all kinds of everything. So, today we'll be talking about this gigantic, honking trilogy ending, New York Times best-selling, etc., superlative book. Which was a big bag of mixed emotions for me. I am not a huge super fan of this series. I definitely do enjoy them. And I even have the first two on my shelves here somewhere. But as you can see, I have really great piles here that if you disturb them at all, they collapse. It's not the greatest system, but it looks pretty cool. So, Allegiant. I'm going to be discussing the ending in the second half of the video. First half of the video, entirely spoiler-free. I will definitely let you know when big Mondo spoilers show up. I will flash all the spoiler signal warnings and everything. So I'm going to discuss, first of all the things I can discuss for the people who have not read the book yet. So, Allegiant picks up pretty much right after what happened at the end of Insurgent, which is when Triss releases the video of Edith Pryor saying, "Hey, come on outside when you have enough Divergent, the rest of the world needs you, yada yada yada." So, turns out that is not exactly the case. Triss, I can't even remember what happened in this book. The ending, you get to the ending and it kind of wiped out the whole beginning, which is a good thing because to me the beginning is the weakest part. Everything is sort of in a kind of state of flux. Evelyn has taken over with the factionless. But then there's this other rebellion brewing called the Allegiant, and they want to bring factions back, and it's all kind of okay, whatever. And Triss is kind of I don't know. Then Triss and Tobias and Christina and a couple other characters who really are not that important because nobody else is really that important in these books. Oh, and Caleb, he's important. He comes too. They leave Chicago and they find things are not what they appear. Now, I don't really want to talk about what it is they find because that's pretty spoilery, but I have a lot of opinions about it. Mostly that it doesn't entirely work. It doesn't hold up. It's not very credible to me, but then again, I couldn't see what else she could do as to be the big reveal and why the factions exist. The only thing that really makes sense. But what I did enjoy in this book quite a lot was Triss. I'm pretty shocked. Haven't been a huge Triss fan, but I've always kind of liked her more than a lot of other people have, because I kind of like that she's prickly and kind of a mean bitch, basically. I love bitches. She's kind of hardcore, and I enjoy that. But she grows so much throughout this book, and in this book, she's an entirely different character than she was in the beginning, in a good way. You can see how she came to become pretty wise and mature. Not perfect, she has her moments, obviously, and she's still entirely who she is. She's brave and other things, but I actually quite enjoyed her in this book. It was Tobias I had a bit of an issue with, which is also surprising because for love of my life, we get to see both characters' viewpoints. Veronica Roth she attempts to do a first-person switch-off chapter of each character. They read entirely identically. I would be reading a chapter, and I would be like, oh, I'm in Triss's head because this is Divergent trilogy. And all of a sudden, the narrators say, I see Triss walking down the hallway, and I'm like, Tobias, surprise! Their syntax, their word choices, their rhythms, identical. And Veronica Roth's writing, I like her stories and and parts of her character developments very much. I've never been a huge fan of her prose. And when you have two identical people speaking exactly the same, it shows that that's, it's her prose, it seems a little extra dry and flat to me, a lot of the times. I mean, for some reason she gets quite a bit of personality across in dialogue, but not a lot of it in sort of inner monologues. So there's a lot of time where Triss and Tobias are thinking about things, and it's not the most thrilling. For instance, the first 200 pages of this book are a snore fest. Then the next 100 pages are oh my god, things are happening! And it's pretty cool, but there's some angst in there, and you're like, no. And then the last 100 pages, oh my god. I sobbed. I was not expecting that. I know I'm like a Fields marshmallow and I will sob when they have those commercials with the really sad puppies in cages and Sarah McLachlan is crying. Like, I have to just go like cry in the corner while those commercials are on. So I knew I would be affected by the ending because I'm one of the few people I went into this already knowing the ending. And I was kind of more excited for the ending because I like when authors take risks. And I was just had this knot in my gut leading up to it. So yeah, a very uneven reading experience, but when it's working, this book is working. Also, speaking of working, I just want to share how beautiful. It's like indented and shiny and well done, book. You are beautiful. You are way too long, but you are beautiful. So I think that's all I can talk about without getting spoilery. I don't know, what else can I discuss? I think the themes are actually pretty strong and prevalent. Themes of sacrifice and bravery and choices. There's a really nice little paragraph, little moment in there where Tris is talking about what a relationship and what love is, and it's not about, you know, falling and then staying fallen. You have to make the choice to be with that person over and over, or the choice to be that person over and over, and that's another good theme that carries through the series pretty well. Choices, and the choices you make, and how you define yourself, and what real sacrifice is, and the true meanings of things like bravery and self-sacrifice, and what's a meaningless sacrifice and what's a meaningful sacrifice. Just giving your life is, you know, not the only way to sacrifice yourself or to give the full abnegation. Whatever. Okay, so that's the end of the spoiler-free section. End of spoiler-free section. Spoilers here, coming up, everywhere. Spoilers. Run away. Hide. Pick up the book. I don't know. Spoilers. Are you warned? Have you left? Have you turned off the video? Okay. Let's talk about the end. Actually, no. We're going to leave the end to the end. We're going to talk about the stuff I don't believe, which is basically everything with the Bureau and everything with genetically damaged, genetically pure. Like, so basically, the reason the factions exist is because there was a purity wars, because they experimented with genes in the past and they're genetically damaged people, and in order to heal them, they put them in these little microcosm cities and then had them be faction. I don't know. I don't believe it. It made sense. Like, literally, the only explanation I could think of for why Chicago existed in this faction-driven society would be an experiment. I just don't believe it. But I was willing to go for it for the sake of the story, and I thought she executed the rest of the story pretty well with how messed up the outside world is with their basically genetic racism, which I liked that second rebellion against the genetic racism. Was it probably too much to have two rebellions that are like the same but different interests in both? I don't know. It's a lot of rebelling in this series. I also hold to my brilliant theory that this book should have been called Emergent as opposed to Allegiant, because that is, I don't think that was not like an important thing in this book, the Allegiant, like whatever. I don't know why Veronica Roth didn't ask me when she was titling this series, like Divergent, Insurgent, Emergent, because they like emerge into the new world, and like Tris emerges as this Christ-like figure, which we're going to talk about the ending. Oh boy, we're going to talk about the ending. So, Tris dies. That happened. I cried. I'm not even going to pretend I didn't. I sat there and I bawled like a baby. And I was not expecting it. Like, I don't know, I thought the last 100 pages of the book, up until Tris dies, are like the best pages of the whole book. And Tris is pretty wonderful. And you don't think it's going to happen. But I just thought Veronica Roth pulled off sort of those themes of self-sacrifice and bravery and the stuff with her brother really, really perfectly. Like, I just thought she did a really good job with that, and I was not expecting to really like it as much as I did. I really did not enjoy the first 200 pages, and then stuff was happening with Tris being awesome, and I liked that. The themes she goes for are pretty sort of Christian-based themes, which are not usually what I enjoy to read about. A lot of forgiveness, sacrifice, free will, that kind of thing. I'm just checking my notes here. And so she carries those through very well. The biggest issue with the book is the pacing. The strongest for me was Tris's sacrifice. I loved it. I'm not even gonna lie. I know why people are really upset about it. I thought it was kind of beautiful. Was it cheesy as all get out when her freaking mother shows up? Yes, but did you cry? I did. I did like the really ugly, like, and my dog was like, ew, I don't belong to you. The serums. They feel more like magic to me. Triss's resistance to them, magic. I don't really buy much of the science going on here. Especially, spoiler, at the end with the death serum. Really? That's just magic. I don't believe it. Do you believe it, Ginger? Back to Tobias. I never really believed that he thought he was that broken. Like, I get that he thought he was broken, but he should have listened to Triss. And I don't really believe that at this point he wouldn't listen to Triss. I don't know. I wasn't sure about that plotline. Another thing I'm not sure about is Veronica Roth's ability to make me care about side characters at all. I sort of care about Christina. I don't really give a crap about anybody else. Like, she has a lot of names that just float around, and I'm like, I don't remember you. Like, even Uriah, just not that vivid to me. So when he died, I was just kind of like, that sucks. Zeke was cool, so I felt bad for him too, but like, you know, Peter, he just floated in and out. I thought his final storyline was actually really amazing. That he wanted to erase his memories. It was pretty powerful. But again, he had no other purpose in the story. He's just kind of like there. And we meet all these new people. There's Nita and Reggie. Who's Reggie? I don't know. Raffi? There was a Raffi? So many names. And I just like, ugh. Like, she doesn't create the most vivid characters, Veronica Roth. Her two leads are quite well developed and have a lot of layers. But everybody else, I don't know. They're just names. I don't even remember what they look like. Christina has dark hair. Joanna has a scar. Who knows? I thought Caleb's storyline was actually quite well done. I liked following his character arc, even though he's like the worst, and he so should have died instead of Triss, and it's pretty damn heartbreaking that what happened. But yeah, I liked this book a lot better than I thought I would. If I reviewed it about 200 pages in, I would not have been happy, because the world building was kind of crappy. It was really boring, like so boring. And I didn't care about any of the characters except for Triss and Tobias, because I like them. Basically, the movie is going to be really depressing to watch now. It's just me watching the screen and be like, I know how things end for you. Stay in this moment. So, yeah, that was my first ever vlog review. It's a bit longer than I was intending. But I had a lot to say about this book. Another thing I have to say is, what the hell is this? Why is this? I don't know. This is my least favorite of the covers. Like, oh, oh, I get it. It's the airport. I always thought it was like a factory. I am brilliant. Okay, I guess it makes sense now. I still don't like the wave. Okay, so you should definitely read this if you're a fan of Divergent, which, let's be honest, you've already read it if you're a fan of Divergent. Don't spoil the ending for people. Be a good person. Be better than that. Put all spoiler tags. Don't tweet it. Don't Facebook it. I've seen it going around. It's bad. You get bad karma. Triss will come haunt you. Triss. Okay, so, this is my first ever vlog review. I hope you enjoyed it. There may be more in the future.